My family, my parents, my father served in the Air Force for 22 years. My mother never finished high school. My father tried to help me uh, complete things like the FAFSA. I mean, we sort of fumbled through it together. It was challenging. They were always very supportive and encouraging of me attending the university. They had a limited understanding of the resources and the things that were needed to complete a college degree. So we sort of learned as we went, but they were always sort of right by my side, even though they may not have completely understood everything that was going on or everything that we were working through at the time. I think for me, the biggest obstacle was sort of that fear of failure. I had one of those, I've always had sort of this, a family that was very supportive, but I was always the smart one, and so I think there were a lot of expectations and a lot of things that I had placed upon myself to be successful, and so overcoming that fear of failure was difficult, especially when your first college exam out of the gate, I got a D on it. So that sense of that fear of failure and overcoming that fear of failure was hard. It was tough, and I never had to study in high school. I was always the guy that showed up a few minutes before class and studied and still made an A. And college was very different, and I had to learn that very quickly, and I had to learn study habits, and I had to learn time management skills very quickly. And so for me, I think that fear of failure was what motivated me to do a lot of things, including getting involved on campus, which became very important for me. I went to an institution that had a program that was similar to the Academic Success Center, and I frequently visited there. They did have a student support services program, and so I utilized some of the tutors in the student support services program. But just being on campus and being involved in the different activities and organizations was really what motivated me to continue. I loved the relationships that I was making with faculty and staff and with the other students that were part of those organizations, and that became super important for me as I went through college, because that was the thing that got me excited and what made me want to do well in my coursework, so that I can continue to come back and work on the things that we were so dedicated to. If I could go back and talk to some of my friends who are also first gen, I would tell them, hey, you guys have to get involved. You have to get into the campus community, be in organizations, go to activities and events. You absolutely have to study, sure, and to take advantage of those tutor resources that are available to you, but getting involved on campus made the world of difference for me. I think for me, the most rewarding part about working with first generation students is I see pieces of myself in some of them, and it's funny to sort of look at someone and say, I know exactly where you've been and what you're feeling, and but when you see them succeed, it's amazing. It really is. It fills my heart with joy, and I get excited about students walking across the stage and graduating. But for me, it's a little bit of that pay it forward type mentality. It's an opportunity for me to say, yeah, I was a first gen, and now here I am working in higher education, and I'm helping other people just like me to succeed, and hopefully they go on and achieve bigger and better things in their lives. And for me, that's extremely rewarding, and it gives me purpose in my career. I think the one thing that was tough for me, like I said earlier, was that fear of failure. And I think there's always this underlying fear that maybe you're not good enough, or you don't. I can honestly remember once as a college student walking out of my residence hall and I transferred to a 4-year institution, much like UAFS, and I walked outside of my residence hall, and I was just looking around, and I said, what did I ever do to deserve to be in a place like this? I never felt fully worthy of the educational opportunities that were being given to me. And I would just say to our first generation students, you are absolutely worthy. You're smart enough. You can totally do this. It's a one day at a time type of deal. You got to take it one day at a time. You got to overcome those hurdles one hurdle at a time, and eventually you will find yourself at the end of a very long journey, and you'll be proud of the work that you've put in. You'll be proud of the relationships you've made, and you'll have something that no one can ever take away from you. I have an associate's degree from Arkansas State University at Beebe. I have a bachelor's degree in history and political science from Arkansas Tech University. I chose to stay at Arkansas Tech University and get my master's degree in college student personnel. And then after working in higher education for a few years, I went back and earned my doctorate degree in adult education from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. I'm Dr. Dave Stevens, and I was the first to go.